Good morning, divas and dudes. My name is Jerrica Garza, and I have the pleasure of getting to speak with y'all today. A little bit about me. I've been a dietitian since I was 22. I know, I started early, started young. I went to the University of Texas at Austin and graduated eligible to take my exam. So I graduated, took my exam, and started counseling outpatient. And I've been doing that for the last going on 5 years. I'm super excited to be spending Saturday mornings with y'all. And I will take note and bring coffee next time because I need to get more like you, girl, honestly. Today, we're gonna be talking about energy balance. Now, when I say energy balance, what do we think of? What are some of the first few thoughts that come into our head?
Exercise and nutrition.
Okay, yeah. Exercise and nutrition and exercise. And absolutely. What was that?
Coffee.
No, I was about to get my energy drink this morning, and I stopped in front of my fridge and I was like, Jerrica, it's 7:30 a.m. You do not need 200 milligrams of caffeine. It's okay. But I will be treating myself to that afterwards. So thank you so much for the reminder. When it comes to energy balance, everyone has their own goals for their own body. And everyone's goals are going to be different. Some of us like being in larger bodies. Other times we want to manipulate the composition. But at the end of the day, everyone has their own goals for their own body. Now, this is where we can really oscillate between loss, maintenance, and gain, and back to maintenance and loss. So we have the autonomy to choose however we want to present our bodies, all by manipulating intake and expenditure. Now, before we begin, I want us to get into a little bit of a dictionary. Hi, good morning. Girl, no worries, I'm always late. Don't worry. I want to add us a word to our dictionary, and that's going to be the word calories. What do we know about calories? We need some. Okay, what else? We need calories. What else do we know about them? What was that? They give us energy. What other associations do we have with them? They could be good, they could be bad.
Limit your calories per day.
There we go. Okay, so that's a big one we think about, right? Usually when we think calories, we think limitation. Because when we think limitation, we think about what with our weight?
We're overweight if we don't watch what we eat.
There we go. So, no, that's fantastic. So when I say denotation versus connotation, do we know the difference between the two?
Which one? What was the word?
Denotation and connotation. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Share, please.
From an English teacher's perspective, denotation, D means dictionary, it's the literal meaning of the word. Connotation is basically figurative, it's whatever you want it to be.
Exactly. And that connotation can be highly influenced by our emotions, by our perspectives, by the opinions and experiences that we've had. So I love the definition you gave because it was based on connotations, what we usually associate calories with. And usually we can go down this slippery slope where it's calories to lose weight because we think we're overweight and we don't like the body we're in. Now, this is where we're going to get into a little bit more of the denotation. So calories, all calories are the unit of measurement for energy. That's it. So just like we use feet and inches to measure distance or height, we use calories to measure energy. That's it. Any questions regarding that so far? Okay, perfect. And I'll also send a copy of the presentation to y'all too, in case, yeah, because honestly, I remember when I was in school and at 8:30, I wasn't there personally, so I'm not going to put that expectation on y'all at all. So now we know that both our intake and expenditure are measured in what? Say it louder, girl. Amen. Oh my gosh, y'all are so smart. Yes. So when we talk about our intake and our expenditure, they are being measured in calories. Now, this is where with weight loss, let's think about intake versus expenditure, right? What we're taking in and what we're burning. We can achieve weight loss by ultimately doing what?
Limiting.
So limiting calories, that's what we're associating it, while expending more. Okay, so weight loss is where we are ultimately burning more calories than what is consumed. We're ultimately expending more calories than what we're intaking. Weight maintenance is where we're ultimately doing what with intake and expenditure?
We're monitoring the intake.
So we can always monitor the intake, right? Whether we're gaining weight, losing weight, maintaining weight, we can always monitor the intake. But if we think about weight loss, we said that we're burning more calories than what we're consuming. What about with weight maintenance? What are we ultimately doing? There we go. So we're maintaining what? Good morning, guys. I'm so sorry. I have terrible hearing. Oh, okay. So muscle. So muscle does have a play in how much we burn. Oh, yeah, the camera. Sorry, guys. So when we think about maintenance, this is where we're ultimately burning the same calories that we're consuming. But hey, I love the associations that we're making because all of this is going to come into play. So I love the words that we're bringing up. I love the words that we're bringing to the forefront of our mind. Right now, when it comes to weight maintenance, once again, we're ultimately burning the same calories of what we're consuming. What about with weight gain? What are we ultimately doing? So with weight gain, we are ultimately burning less calories than what we're consuming. Now you're probably like, Jerrica, that's a whole lot of ultimately. That was a great observation. The reason I say ultimately is because there's more than one way to achieve it. So when we talk about we are ultimately burning more calories than what we're consuming for weight loss, there's more than one way to achieve that. There's more than one way to achieve weight gain, where we are burning less calories than what we're consuming. And so today we're going to talk a little bit more about the different ways to achieve ultimately. What? Okay. Any questions, comments, concerns, or thoughts so far? How are we feeling with the information? Okay, perfect. Now, when we talk about intake and expenditure, what I want us to focus in on right now is intake. Now we're going to add another word to our dictionary. So now we know that calories are what? The denotation. Calories are what? The unit of measurement for?
Energy.
Amazing. But I want us to add on another word, macronutrient.
Oh.
I know. That was me in class, like in college, when they were like, here are all these words. I was like, what are you talking about? So macronutrients. How have we heard about macronutrients before? What have we used them in the context of? Have we heard people talk about them? What are macronutrients? I know, same. Like, I didn't know either. So all the word macronutrient means is that out of all the nutrients out there, iron, selenium, like the whole alphabet at this point, these are the group of nutrients our body needs in the largest amounts compared to everything else. That's it. The nutrients we need in the largest amounts. And what's more commonly and popularly referred to as our macronutrients are carbohydrates, protein, and fat. But call it ego, or the fact that I'm in debt to this field and I had to take an internship and a test, and like I have to get like relicensed every year. Oh my gosh. Call it ego, but I want to add 2 more because I feel like it. And that's going to be your favorite F word, fiber. And last but not least, water. So these are our 5 macronutrients. We need these nutrients in the largest amounts compared to everything else. Now, each of these macronutrients provide very specific, irreplaceable roles in the diet. And I want us to start off with carbohydrates. Why do you think we need carbohydrates? And I know you can read, so I mean, you can do that too. But why do we need carbohydrates?
For our muscle and everything.
For what?
For our muscles.
For our muscles, absolutely. Because muscles need carbohydrates. We need that storage for production of energy. If you don't have carbohydrates in your muscles, you're actually more likely to lose muscle. So you're absolutely right. We need carbohydrates for muscle. What else do we associate carbohydrates with?
The brain.
The brain. No, you're absolutely right. So the brain is the primary consumer of carbohydrates. So much so that after you've been fasting, your liver will actually keep some of those carbohydrates despite you not eating and despite the rest of your body needing carbs, and it will save it specifically for the brain. So our brain primarily runs on carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are these quick digesting nutrients that are the primary and preferred source of energy for everything metabolically active in your body. Carbohydrates are actually so important that it's recommended that out of someone's calorie needs, 45 to 65% of those calories come strictly from carbohydrates. That's how important they are. Now, next up, we have everyone's favorite macronutrient, and there's been kind of like a craze recently, and that's going to be protein. And the reason protein is so important is because it provides structure for everything in the body. Hair, nails, tendons, skin, anything that needs structure needs protein. Now, we have one of the fear words of the 90s, fat. I know, trauma. Why do we need fat? Why do we think we need it?
To make it work.
To make what? to make what work?
To oil our body.
The body.
Okay.
Your digestion and poop.
Hey, okay. So we absolutely need fat because there are certain vitamins that need fat in order to be absorbed. So vitamin A for your night vision and for your vision in general. Vitamin D for your bone health and your mental health. That anti-aging vitamin E everybody loves for the skin and, you know, the looks. And vitamin K for blood clotting. If we do not have fat in the diet, we are not absorbing these nutrients. Point blank period.
So K is for the blood?
Blood clotting.
Blood clot. Okay.
Which is why when we are on blood thinners, they recommend not to have vitamin K supplementation because blood thinners are meant to thin out the blood, so it's typically less work on your heart.
What's in K again? Can you remind me?
So vitamin K, those are going to be like your dark leafy greens. So things like kale, some of those darker colored greens.
Spinach.
Those can all be sources of vitamin K.
Okay.
But that's why when we're on things like warfarin, right, it's recommended that we don't take vitamin K additional supplementation. And that's because if we're taking a blood thinner, we don't want to be increasing something that thickens our blood. But the reason we need fat is because those particular vitamins, if they do not have the help of fat, even though we're eating it, doesn't guarantee that we're absorbing it. And that's where we can get into trouble. We also need fat though, because it's anti-inflammatory. especially those heart and brain healthy fats. So things that we get from olive oil, avocados, avocado oil, even seed oils. I know there's been some hate towards seed oils, but things like canola oil, vegetable oil, those also provide those heart and brain healthy fats to reduce inflammation in the body.
Grapeseed oil.
Grapeseed oil can too, peanut oil as well. Really the differences in those heart healthy oils when it comes to cooking and preparation is their smoking point. So some oils, they burn at a lower temperature, and so that's where they can become, it can change the structure of the fat. So peanut oil is usually used for frying because you need to have it at high enough of a temperature, but that's going to be better for frying compared to olive oil. They're both heart and brain healthy fats, but one can be cooked at a higher temperature compared to another.
Where does grapeseed oil fall?
I can't, that's a good question. I think it's,
Because I switched to grapeseed oil for like frying and stuff.
oh,
Yeah,
perfect.
so it's like-
Yeah, I don't know the exact layout, but if you just always look up smoke point of oils, but usually you'll see like vegetable oil, canola oil, or even like grapeseed oil, peanut oil.
Avocado oil is good because I can't do peanut oil and avocado.
So those are all going to be on the higher end of the spectrum where you can cook them at a higher temperature. We need fiber for a few things. So fiber is technically, emphasis on the technically. It is technically a carbohydrate. I know, scary. Carbohydrate is this umbrella term for all the different types of sugars out there. Glucose, maltose, dextrose, added sugars, and fiber. What separates fiber though from our digestible and absorbable carbohydrates is fiber is a sugar made by plants. And plants, they keep those sugars together with these really strong linkages called beta linkages that our bodies don't actually have the best tools of breaking apart. So if we can't break it apart, do you think we're going to do the best job of digesting it? What do you think? No. And if we're not digesting it, do you think we're going to do the best job of absorbing it into our bloodstream? No. So fiber is then kicked out into our large intestine where it prepares to make its grand and final exit out, which is why fiber is notoriously known for helping us do what? There, girl, you can say it. I got to talk about it all the time. There we go. Poop. Boo-boo. Number 2, however you want to describe it. Oh, shoot, sorry. Sorry, guys. I'm like being directed as well. I'm a, what is it? A drifter. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm a drifter. Okay. Now, we need fiber, though, to be non-digestible. Fiber's role as being a non-digestible carbohydrate is what actually makes it special. Because as fiber is leaving into the large intestine, 1, it's acting as a magnet for cholesterol. So as it's acting for a magnet in cholesterol, it can actually prevent our bodies from reabsorbing that bad cholesterol. Which is why when we go to the doctors and they're like, oh my gosh, congratulations, you have high cholesterol. What's the first thing they tell us? One of the first things they tell us. I know y'all have heard it. They say increase your fiber. And that's because it acts as a magnet and it traps onto that cholesterol, preventing its reabsorption back into the bloodstream. Now, at the same time it's acting as that magnet for cholesterol, it's also acting as food for the bacteria in our gut. Are we familiar with what the gut microbiome is? Have you ever heard of it? Has anyone ever said it? Gut health? Yeah? Okay, what do we know about gut health? What do you think?
The yogurts.
Okay, so yogurts are made with probiotics. So probiotics introduce the bacteria into the gut. Fiber is a prebiotic. That's what feeds the bacteria in our gut. But yeah, fermented foods, especially if they're made with active cultures, fantastic sources of introducing that bacteria. And that does have a play with gut health. So when we talk about the gut microbiome, all the gut microbiome is it's a city of different bacteria that live in our large intestine. That's it. And just like in the city of San Antonio, we all have different jobs, right? And we all have different purposes, and we all make the city run in our own way. Those bacteria in our gut are different strands, and they have different jobs, and they have different functions. So when we're feeding those bacteria in our gut, we can make sure that we're having this, what's known as like a health positive gut microbiome. And we're finding that the more health positive that gut microbiome is, the reduced risk of type 2 diabetes. We have a reduced risk for cardiovascular disease. We can also see a reduced risk for schizophrenia, Alzheimer's, and even dementia. We can see improvements in our mental health, our emotional health. There's even been studies done that individuals that were given adequate fiber and adequate prebiotics, without any medication, they were able to take their severe anxiety and depression down to moderate without any additional supplementation or medication. So there's even more research to show that the gut is now like the second brain, and it is in constant communication with our actual brain. So that's why we need fiber. Now, of course, our last but certainly not least, we have water, our fifth macronutrient. And the reason we need water is one, yes, for hydration, but also we need it to ensure that we have adequate blood flow to deliver oxygen and nutrients to our brain and to all of our other muscles. We also need it to help support our internal body temperature, especially during the San Antonio summer months. By having adequate water retention, we can actually lower our core body temperature. So that's why water is so important. Questions, comments, concerns, or thoughts so far about our 5 macronutrients and why we need them? I know y'all are just mesmerized by the information. Thank you so much. Thank you. Now, this is where we're gonna add on another layer. Some of our macronutrients are considered energy yielding. When we hear that word, what do we think of? Energy yielding.
Being able to move.
Being able to move, right? And that means we need calories. So some of these macronutrients are considered energy yielding, meaning they give us calories, but not all of our macronutrients are energy yielding. So if y'all were to take a guess, which macronutrients give us calories? Which ones are energy yielding?
The carbs.
Carbohydrate, y'all said carbs quick. Okay, carbohydrates. Carbohydrates, which other ones? Protein. And? Girl, you're on a roll. Yeah, oh my goodness. Yes, you're absolutely right. So our carbohydrates, protein, and fat are considered energy yielding macronutrients. Fiber and water, not so much. Like those aren't going to be the best sources of calories, truly. Now, if we were to take a guess, how many calories do you think we get per gram of carbohydrates? If we were to take a guess, I'll give you a hint. It's anywhere between 0 to 10 calories per gram.
5.
Okay, 5. I want 2 other ones, 2 other guesses. 5, 3, and 7. All right, let's do 5, 3, and 7. Carbohydrates actually give us 4 calories per gram. Now, when I say per gram, that doesn't mean, oh my gosh, we weighed out 17 grams of bread. No. That means when we take a look at the nutrition label, right? And it says, okay, this one slice of bread has 22 grams of carbohydrate. That means for every one of those 22 grams, we're getting 4 calories. Perfect. What about protein? If carbohydrates give us 4 calories per gram, how much does protein give us?
From 0 to 10?
From 0 to 10.
8, 9.
8, 9, anything else? 7. Okay. 4. So calorically speaking, carbohydrates and protein give us the same amount of calories. Now, of course, calorically, they're the same. So I could give you 100 calories of carbs and I can give you 100 calories of protein, and they're calorically the same. But of course, now we know they have different functions, right? Carbohydrates cannot do the job of protein and fat. Protein cannot do the job of carbs and fat cannot do the job of protein and carbs. We need all of them. Calorically, though, they're a little bit different. So now if we know that 1 gram of carbohydrate gives, 1 gram of carbohydrate gives us 4 calories, 1 gram of protein gives us 4 calories, how many calories do we think we get per gram of fat?
Why don't we go with 4?
Okay, so we're going 4, right? Okay, no, that's a great answer. 9. I know. So 1 gram of fat actually gives us more than twice than what we're getting from protein and carbohydrates, which is why a little bit of fat goes a very long way. It's because for every 2 grams of carb, calorically, that's the same as less than 1 gram of fat. So that's why a little bit of fat goes a very long way. How do we feel with this information? I feel like I got some gasps, which I love. I love like causing a little stir, you know, like giving a walk away moment, like, I love it. It's like a telenovela, you know? Yeah, like, I love it. Now, this is where I want us to identify our energy yielding macronutrients here. So here I have my plate. I have my nice little salad with tomatoes and cucumber and lettuce. I have some seasoned rice. Oh my gosh, so good. And I have a drumstick. Which one of these are giving me calories? Well, let's think about the macronutrients, right? Our seasoned rice gives me what macronutrients? Gives us carbs, which we know carbohydrates give us calories. They give us 4 perfect. They give us calories. What about the chicken? I got the skin on here, duh, because it's good. So that's giving me some fat. I have the protein. Protein and fat, are those energy yielding or non-energy yielding? Energy yielding. Now I have my non-starchy vegetables here. So my tomatoes and my lettuce and my cucumber. Is that giving me calories? Maybe, but what macronutrient is that predominantly? What do we think? Carbs, protein, fat, or fiber? There we go. And we know, is fiber the best source of calories? Yes. Remember, we don't do the best job of digesting it. We don't do the best job of absorbing it. And if we don't absorb it into our bloodstream, do we really think we're going to get calories? No. So remember, fiber and water, those are considered the non-energy yielding macronutrients. So taking a look at this, we now know our primary calories are coming from rice, chicken, and if I decide to use dressing on this. If I'm just putting some lemon on it, do you really think that's going to be calories? Like a significant, no. But if I were to put like a 1/4 cup of dressing, then that's giving me fat. That's going to be the calories, right? So now that this is our plate, so what would you do if I wanted to eat this, but I wanted to increase my calories coming in?
Add some avocado to the salad.
Yes.
You could add some avocado to the salad. Perfect.
Take an avocado with some olive oil and make a dressing out of it.
We could do that too. What if I'm trying to build more lean muscle mass specifically?
Like sunflower seeds or
So the sunflower seeds are going to give us some fat. They give us a little bit of protein. I know. See, look at us. We're making meals. Come on now. What if, once again, I'm going to start building more lean muscle mass, so I need more carbs and I need more protein. What should I do?
Some healthy fats.
Well, so we need fat, right? But fats, remember, are going to help with a digestion, like the absorption of nutrients. Fat doesn't have necessarily as direct of a role.
So more carbs that it would actually be.
There you go.
25%.
Perfect. So maybe instead of, let's just say this is half a cup of rice. If I'm trying to increase my calories coming in, all right, cool, I'll just do a cup of rice. Instead of just one chicken strip, oh no, hold on, the family group chat is about to go off. Instead of just one drumstick, all right, I can do two. I can add in a chicken breast. And just like that, I didn't have to change anything about my meal, except I just manipulated my energy yielding macronutrients. Now, if I was trying to increase my calories, do you think I probably would have achieved that if I was like, oh my gosh, let me make a bigger salad? No. All right, perfect. Any questions, comments, concerns? All right. We're not done yet though. I have another meal. Oh, okay. So this is one of my favorites. We have some carne asada tacos. I have 2 tortillas. I have my avocado slices, 4, and then I have a Coke. Come on now. Let's be for real. What are my energy yielding macronutrients here?
Well, it certainly isn't the Coke.
Well, I know that it really is a Coke. I looked at the liter and I was like, dang, that's 68 grams of carb. And I drink that like that. So our energy yielding macros are going to be the fat from the avocado. If it's a regular Coke, we're getting carbohydrates from the Coke. The tortillas are giving me some carbohydrate. The cilantro and onions, be for real. That's not going to give you anything. Yeah, so that's just going to be the fiber. Perfect. And then I'm getting protein and fat from the carne asada. Perfect.
Okay, now is that a corn or a flour?
So that's corn for street tacos. If we're doing breakfast, that's flour. I have rules.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So street tacos, we do corn. Breakfast, other fajita taco, that's flour.
Okay,
That's a hill I'm dying on.
thank you.
Yes. So these are going to be corn. I want to keep this meal though, but I want to decrease my calories coming in. What would you recommend? But see, that's the thing. I want the carbonation because soda tastes good. The carbonation's good.
You can get some sparkling apple juice.
Okay, so to each their own. But see, that's the thing. Like,
Horchata.
okay, so that's too. I had that this week. So good. So let's think of it this way. Really, what we could do is instead of a regular Coke, I could just do a Coke Zero. The reason I'm not doing Diet Coke is I don't like Diet Coke. But I'll do, yeah, it tastes different. Coke Zero, Sprite Zero, amazing.
They don't still have sugar in it?
Well, so that's the thing. It does have a carbohydrate, but these newer carbohydrates, we can absorb them into our bloodstream, but we won't break them apart. So they're just taken out into our urine. Perfect. There's other carbohydrates, though, that we actually can't digest it, so we're not absorbing it. So we just excrete it through our stool. So that's why Coke Zeros and Diet Cokes can be beneficial because they can still give us a satisfaction of the flavor, they can give us a satisfaction of the carbonation, but they can allow us to decrease our calories coming in. And I know there is a lot of talk about aspartame, right? But really, you would have to consume probably around 44 12-ounce Diet Cokes a day for that to really do anything to your body. And I don't know about y'all, but I don't really know anyone who drinks 44 Diet Cokes a day, like ever. Yeah. I know. That's why we go zero, not diet.
That's why I just buy the regular mini Cokes and limit myself on what I
Hey, so that's another way too. So perfect.
Yeah.
No, they're so good. And those have the best carbonation too, honestly.
Care if it costs more money, I just-
Hey, but that's a great recommendation too, because let's say this is my normal. Let's say I normally get a 32 ounce of Coke. Going down to an 8 ounce, I'm still getting what I want, but it's less calories. Perfect. So that's where you can manipulate your plate without having to take anything away, just compared to your normal. So let's say, for example, my normal is for one taco, I have 2 tortillas. All right, cool, let me just do one taco with one. Perfect. Maybe instead of a full avocado that I'm used to doing, I do half an avocado. Perfect. I know, right? But this is how we can decrease our intake without getting rid of meals. That's one of the first things clients, when they're looking for weight loss, come into me. They're like, okay, I'm expecting for you to tell me everything I can't eat. When in reality, we can eat whatever we want. It's just all about manipulating the portions compared to our normal. That's it. How do we feel about this perspective?
One taco?
I know, girl. I said you're normal, right? No, literally. So usually, like, my partner and I will do 3 or 4 tacos and each have because I'm an eater. I eat more than him. It's ridiculous. But when we get our street tacos, there's usually 2 tortillas with it. So if I'm normally eating 4, I just won't eat the second tortilla. So I'm still getting my 4 tacos, but instead of 8 tortillas, I'm only getting 4. Perfect. I know, right? How do we feel with it? Do we like this perspective? Okay. Do we feel a little bit more comfortable with manipulating foods? Amazing. Okay. So this is my hot take though. Yeah, when it comes to weight loss, I could very well decrease your calories. Someone can come in and they can say, okay, I can calculate their needs and their maintenance needs. Well, let's use me for as example. I'm a 5'7" female, even though I give 5'10" energy. I am 27 years old, even though I look 24. And I train 4 times a week. And I try and increase my stand time, my movement time. Cool. For me to maintain my current 180 pounds, I need 2,400 calories a day, 2,400. That's to maintain 180, right? So if I wanted to lose weight, yeah, I could go down to 1,200 calories. Guess what I'm gonna have? Guess what's gonna happen? I'm gonna lose weight.
So how many of you consistently being on the nutrition plan and your activity? What was your activity during the week for?
My activity, I train 4 times a week for about an hour.
Okay.
I know I'm working with my sister. My sister's the exercise science, future physical therapist, strength training girl. So I'm learning from her, but I train around 4 times a week.
Okay.
And then I'm trying to go on 10 to 30 minute walks a day.
Oh, very
Mm-hmm.
good. That's good.
Just for my mental, because I'm on a computer all day. Oh. So for me to maintain my current 180 pounds, I need 2,400 calories a day. Cool. So if I were to come back and say, oh my gosh, I'm going to decrease my calories to 1,200, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to lose weight. But does that sound appropriate for my body taking a look at me? 1,200 calories? No. And so this is where, as a dietitian, there comes a point in time where I don't like touching intake anymore. I don't like doing it. Why? That's a great question, guys. Y'all are once again so inquisitive. Why is because if I continuously decrease my calories coming in, now I'm not giving myself enough of a caloric budget to actually have enough of my energy yielding macronutrients. If I'm continuously dropping my calories, now I may not have enough calories allocated to carbohydrates for lean muscle mass growth. Now I may not have enough calories towards protein for lean muscle mass growth and hair production. I may not have enough calories for fat to help with inflammation and my skin health and my estrogen production and my testosterone production. So that's why as a dietitian, I don't like touching calories after a certain point. And I know that sounds a little counterintuitive because the word diet is literally in my job description, but those are kind of the boundaries that I have. Which is why now when it comes to energy in and energy out, I want us to focus in a little bit on the expenditure. Before we go into this next portion, 1, do we need a stretch break? We've been sitting at all. Do we want a stretch break at all? Get up? Okay, let's get up if we can. If you can't get up, we can do it when you're sitting. So we can do, I'm becoming my sister, oh my gosh. She told me one time in her anatomy classes, because she went to school to be a certified strength and conditioning coach, right? That during middle of her sessions, the professor would tell her to get up. Like the professor would tell the class, get up and give me 10 squats. So they'd be doing squats. But for us, we can do something different. So we can do some arm circles. We're gonna do 5 arm circles to the front if we can.
Oh, yeah.
If we cannot, we can always do marches instead. We're gonna do 5 arm circles to the back. Beautiful. And then if we can, if you need support too, you can hold on to the table. You're just gonna give me some calf raises. And we're gonna do 10. So 10 calf raises. I know, right? Look at that muscle contraction. Oh, we love it. Okay, and if we need to do some additional stretching, please do so. But if you're ready to get back into it, we can do that too. Does anyone need water, caffeine, anything like that? We're good? We feel good? Okay, perfect. Don't we love a good blood flow to the brain? That's amazing. So now we're gonna get into expenditure, okay? Now, oftentimes, and this is when I first came in, you had said it. You said exercise. Yes. And oftentimes people associate expenditure with exercise. But in my professional and humble opinion, that's a little bit of, excuse my language, like bullshit, personally. And we're gonna get into why. Now, when it comes to expenditure, there's different ways for us to measure expenditure. Some people measure it on a weekly basis. So, okay, in this 7-day period, my body is burning this amount of calories. So let's use me as a case study. If I'm burning 2,400 calories a day, across a week, that means I'm burning 16,800 calories. Perfect. Now, for all intents and purposes of our YAP session today, we're gonna do it based on a 24-hour period. And that's what's known as total daily energy expenditure. And there's a few things that contribute to it. The first one being BMR. BMR stands for basal metabolic rate. And I like to think of this as the bare minimum rate. So this is the bare minimum amount of calories our body needs for the most basic functions in our body. So basically that you don't die or you don't like go into sepsis, you know? So this BMR is meant to keep our heart pumping. It's meant for blood flow. It's meant for temperature regulation. It's meant for breathing. This is the amount of calories you'll be burning by laying in your bed 24 hours a day doing nothing. No walking, no talking, no eating, no nothing. Bare minimum. We also have what's known as TEF, and that's the thermal effect of food. And this is the amount of calories that we actually burn just by digesting and absorbing our nutrients. Meaning that in order to burn calories, we have to consume calories. We then also have our exercise activity thermogenesis, or EAT. And this is the amount of calories that we're burning during more structured, formal exercise. And last but certainly not least, we have what's known as our non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So pacing, me standing right now, non-exercise activity, standing and moving while doing your chores, non-exercise activity. If we're to take a guess of these 4 factors, which one do we think contributes the least versus the most? Which one? Which one would you say contributes the most to the total calories that we're burning in a day? And which one would you think contributes the least?
The most is eating.
So the most is eat. See, there we go. Those associations, hey. So we think the most is exercise, it sounds like. What about the least?
BMR.
So we have 1 BMR. Anything else? Okay, so we're thinking the least BMR, we're thinking the most eat or exercise activity. Okay, perfect. So when we take a look at total daily energy expenditure, our BMR actually makes up about 70% of the total calories that we burn in a day. So for me, as an example, out of the 2,400 calories that it's estimated that I burn in a day, around 1,500 of those are actually for my BMR. Crazy, huh? What contributes the least? Oh my gosh, a great question. Exercise. Exercise only contributes about 5% of the total calories that we burn in a day. I know, I see the shock in your eyes, and I love it. I'm gonna explain it a little bit more. So let's think about 24 hours, right? We have 24 hours in a day. How many days do we have in a week? 7. So from my calculator, 24 times 7 is 168. So there are roughly 168 hours in an entire week. I train 4 times a week, and people are like, oh my God, Jerrica, that's so good. I'm like, thanks. I do my best, you know. But then I started thinking more into it, and I train 4 times a day. And granted, like, my sister thinks I can push myself more. But I'm struggling during my sessions. I'm cussing because I'm in pain. I'm like out of breath. Sometimes I'm leaving the gym waddling because my legs hurt. They're burning. But then I realized if I'm only training for about an hour 4 times a week, that's only 4 hours out of 168. Is that significant? I fear it's not. Let's break it down even more. How many hours are in a day? 24. And it's recommended, it doesn't mean it happens, but it's recommended that we sleep for how many of those hours? 8. So once again, per my calculator, 24 minus 8 is 16. So theoretically and mathematically, we are awake for 16 hours. If someone does exercise every day, which truly doesn't necessarily happen, if someone does exercise, how long are they typically exercising for?
An hour.
Maybe an hour. On average, probably like 30 minutes to 45 minutes. Do you think that 1 hour is going to completely make up for what you did or did not do those remaining 15 hours that you're awake? No. So with that being said, is exercise the most effective at burning calories? No. Which means the point of exercise is not to burn calories. The point of exercise is to improve your cardiovascular health, to reduce your risk of Alzheimer's and dementia and even schizophrenia. It's for emotional regulation, but it's also for lean muscle mass growth. But if we're solely looking to exercise to burn calories and put us into a caloric deficit, ladies, good luck, because that's not really gonna happen. What are our thoughts on this?
Shocking.
How so? Like, why is this shocking?
I've heard this before, but I have a hard time grasping that
Yeah.
this is actually how it is.
I think because in society we're told we have to exercise. They promote the exercise, join our gym. They have
Right.
protein, where you can buy your protein shakes, and they're
Mhm.
like, encouraging movement. But
Oh,
it makes
absolutely.
sense that we need to take care of our body for the cardiovascular.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't exercise for that. I exercise to burn calories. And so now you really put a shockwave in my brain.
Oh yeah, but see, that's part of the thing. Aesthetic sells, right? Unfortunately, body types, body frames, it's marketable. Saying, oh my gosh, train for your heart health. Is that as marketable to, oh my gosh, train so you can have this body? No. But that's why exercise is important, which we will be getting to next week. I know, I'm super excited. So we're gonna be getting into that next week. You know, I had to give a little teaser trailer, you know. Yes, ma'am.
You know what? I will be out of town next week, but I would love to attend that class. Is there a way I could get like
Oh,
information on it afterwards?
yeah, recording. Okay, yes, that's why I have this thingy. That's why I have this microphone. I know. So hopefully my personality shines through the video too, you know? Yeah. Thank you. So this is a breakdown of total daily energy expenditure, right? So when we talk about main takeaways, the first takeaway is that weight loss, weight maintenance, and gain can all be achieved by manipulating what? Intake and expenditure. But now we know that if we're trying to increase our expenditure, do you really have to exercise more? No. What we can do is we can actually manipulate our non-exercise activity. So we can actually manipulate those 15 or 16 hours in the day that we're not exercising. We can stand more, we can walk more, we can pace more. Even when you're sitting down, you can be doing arm circles, you can be grabbing a resistance band, moving. Majority of the time throughout the workday, like I spend 8 hours counseling patients. Like I spend 6.5 hours counseling patients a day, back to back to back to back. And majority of the time I used to sit. So I was spending majority of my day sitting, and then I would drive home. I don't know about y'all, but when I drive, I'm sitting. And then I was so tired from the day, guess what I would do when I would come home? Sit in front of the TV, put on one of my favorite shows and just like rot, right? So majority of the day, we're sitting. And so that's why we can take those opportunities to spend less time sitting down, whatever that looks like. It doesn't have to look like exercise. Yes, we need exercise. We need it to build metabolically active tissue, which will help our BMR. We'll get into that later. But in the short term, if we're just looking to increase calories going out, you can actually manipulate your non-exercise activity. And then, of course, what burns more than exercise? The thermal effect of food. So out of our macronutrients, carbs, protein, fat, fiber, and water, which macronutrient do you think burns the most calories just through the digestion and absorption process? So we have carbs, fiber, what else? Protein. Ding, ding, ding. Girl, it's that Starbucks. It's that caffeine. So protein has the highest thermic effect. So an example that people give is that if I were to give you 100 calories of protein, right, nothing else, you're to consume 100 calories of protein, you would burn anywhere from 20 to 30 of those calories just by the digestion and absorption. So protein has the highest thermic effect. Carbohydrates come in second, where they have a 5 to 15% thermic effect compared to protein's 20 to 30. Fat comes in at the lowest, anywhere from 0 to 5. So that's why, once again, we want to eat in order to burn calories. Perfect. So once again, we can achieve weight loss, maintenance, and gain all by manipulating intake and or expenditure. The second takeaway, some macronutrients provide calories, others don't. And the reason that's so important is so that you have the autonomy to have the meals that you want while still achieving the goals that you want for your body. And last but certainly not least, consuming too little calories can actually result in lean muscle mass loss. And if we're losing lean muscle, what do you think is going to happen to our metabolism? It's going to go down. And then exercise does not contribute a significant amount of calories to total daily energy expenditure, but we still need exercise, right? Perfect. Now, what are y'all's key takeaways?
What should I do?
I know, what should I do? What are some of the things that stuck out to y'all? The things that scratched a part of your brain, the things that challenged some ideas, or that even validated some concepts that you already knew?
I think that it's okay to eat a regular plate of food, but just monitor,
those
Just,
energy yielding
eat what
macros.
you like, but just minimize it.
Adjust what you need.
Yeah.
Perfect. So we learned that we don't have to get rid of foods to achieve our goals. What are some other things that stuck out to us? Yeah. I feel like that just caused so much like distraught on a Saturday morning. So what about exercise?
So, the exercise really stuck out to me because ever since I joined the Thrive Well and I started going to the classes during the week, it's been great. But now I've been, incorporating strength training into it, where it's more with weights and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm trying to rebuild muscle because my body fat is like just terrible right now.
Oh, absolutely.
So I'm trying to do the strength training, hoping that I can build muscle back.
Oh, absolutely.
So I am actually doing a little bit more exercise than just what I'm doing like when I go to Thrive Well, and
No, that's fantastic. And that's where too at our next discussion, we're going to get into the different forms of exercise and why strength training is actually the most effective at building lean muscle mass.
Okay.
Because yes, all forms of exercise can technically build lean muscle mass, but our bodies are really good at adapting, almost a little too good. Our bodies are capable of so many things just for the means of survival. And because of that, of all the different forms of exercise, strength training and resistance training is the most effective at building lean muscle mass.
And I also want to be careful of like building too much muscle, because I'm worried that if for some reason my health gets bad and I don't want all that muscle, extra muscle that if I did build extra muscle, that it would just turn fat. I worry about that.
Yeah, so that will not happen.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is because protein does not have a storage form, a long-term storage form in our body. Fat, if we've consumed more fat, our body can just deposit that as fat. It doesn't have to do anything. If we consume excessive carbohydrates, it can store it as a short-term storage form, glycogen, but then it can also be converted into fat. Protein, if our body doesn't need the protein, it will just send it to the kidneys and say, hey, get rid of it. So we will not usually see that muscle turns into fat, but if we are losing muscle and our metabolism is dropping, that could mean it could theoretically put us in a position to enter a caloric surplus, and that's where we can see the weight gain. But it's not usually that your muscle will turn into fat. It's more of like a indirect muscle loss can influence fat gain, but the two aren't converting to the other. Yeah. Did I answer your question?
Yeah. No.
Okay, perfect. Anything else?
And isn't it also true that, you're doing some exercises, which is an hour, but bodybuilders are there 8 hours, versus,
Yes, so that's where too with bodybuilders, you'll have what's known, and this is like the Gen Zer way of saying it, but natty versus not natty. And what that means is natural. Are you natural? Majority of the time, in order for people to build that much muscle who look crazy big, it's usually a result of taking extra testosterone or steroids. But usually, in most cases, our bodies will not produce that much testosterone to like bulk up to that crazy amount. Yes, some individuals do, like naturally, but that's a part of their genetics. Majority of the time, especially women, we won't see individuals with higher levels of estrogen compared to testosterone will not usually pack on a bunch of muscle. And that's because testosterone is responsible for that. Yeah. But bodybuilders, that's their job too. Couldn't be me. Nor wouldn't be. I like my curves. What I got. I can't say I'm like a Coke bottle, but Okay. So, questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, or compliments? How are we feeling? What do we think? Did I do a good job? Did I do a good job? Okay, yeah, she's telling me to wrap it up. Okay, perfect. Alrighty, guys. Well, once again, everyone has their own goals for their own body. And we can always oscillate between loss, maintenance, and gain. Weight is influenced by a whole bunch of things: water retention, skeletal muscle, stool size, body fat. And that's why that number on the scale isn't actually as reliable. There's too much that actually goes into it. Which is why, too, rather than focusing on weight, I want us to now focus in on body composition. And that's where we're going to get into our next session. Fueling for fitness, aging gracefully. Alrighty, guys.
Okay.
Thank y'all so much.